He said he was going to a work dinner. I showed up with dessert. His chair was empty, but hers wasn't. She looked up and said, "Wait, are you his sister?" I said no. I'm his wife. My name's Melissa. I'm 41. Been married to Craig for 12 years, together for 15. We live just outside Aurora, Colorado, in a quiet cul-de-sac where people mow their lawns on Saturdays and wave when they check their mail. We have a dog, 2 cars, and a house that looks great in Christmas lights. No kids, not by choice. We tried. For years. Miscarriages, tests, heartache. It's something that left a permanent crack in our marriage, one we both pretended to stop seeing. Craig works in commercial real estate. Horizon Realty Group, downtown Denver. He's in middle management. Makes good money. Wears tailored shirts, watches sports he doesn't understand, and has a different cologne for each day of the week. He's always been a little too concerned with appearances, but I ignored that for years. I thought that's just how some men are. I thought he was loyal. For a while, things were okay. We had routines. Dinners at home. Grocery shopping together. Sunday night movies on the couch. I used to believe he liked that life. I used to believe he loved me. But the changes came slow. First it was the late meetings. Then the team happy hours. The out-of-town conferences. The texts that went silent after 9 p.m. He'd give me vague explanations. A client needed a last-minute showing. A deal was going south. His boss was in town. He always had something. I kept asking questions. He kept brushing them off. "It's just work, babe," he'd say, kissing my forehead while checking his phone. I wanted to believe him. Hell, I did believe him. Until the night I brought him brownies. It was a Thursday. He left the house that morning wearing his favorite navy suit. Said he had a work dinner at the Elk and Birch with some clients from Texas. He sounded tired. Not suspicious, just off. I kissed him goodbye like always, but something didn't sit right. My gut had been whispering for weeks, but that day it screamed. So I baked. Triple chocolate brownies with sea salt. Craig's favorite. I wrote a little note on the container lid. "For you and your coworkers. Love, M." I wasn't planning anything dramatic. I just thought I'd swing by. Say hi. Drop off the dessert. Maybe meet his team. I figured if I was wrong, it would just be a nice surprise. If I was right, well, I needed to know. I got to the Elk and Birch just before 7. Told the hostess I was meeting someone from Horizon Realty. She pointed me toward the back patio, said they were seated outside. As I walked toward the table, I recognized her first. Blonde, shoulder-length hair, red lipstick, tight black dress. She looked like someone trying hard to be noticed. She was laughing too loudly, leaning forward like she was already on date number 3. There were 4 wine glasses on the table, 3 filled. One spot was empty. His chair. I stopped in my tracks. She looked up and saw me. Her smile faltered, like she recognized me but didn't know how. Her eyes flicked down to the brownies in my hands. Then back to my face. She tilted her head. "Wait, are you his sister?" I didn't blink. "No, I'm his wife." It hit her hard. Her face changed. She went white, then red, then somewhere in between. She looked like she wanted to melt through the chair. I walked over, set the brownies down in front of her. "Tell him I stopped by." Then I turned around and left. I didn't cry. Not in the car. Not when I got home. I didn't throw things or scream. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the closet door. His suits. His belts. His whole stupid life hanging there. That was the moment I stopped being his wife. That was the moment I became something else. I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed staring at the ceiling, my body cold and still, like my brain had been unplugged, but my heart wouldn't shut up. Every few minutes, I'd hear a sound outside and think it was him pulling into the driveway. But he didn't come home. Not that night. Not until the next morning. When he walked through the door at 7:42 a.m., still wearing his suit from the night before. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of black coffee and a folder. "Hey," he said, trying to smile, dropping his keys into the bowl like it was just another Friday. I didn't say anything. He froze. I saw it then. The flicker of fear in his eyes. He knew. I was gonna text you. It got late. You didn't even show up to your own dinner. His mouth opened. Closed. He looked down at the floor. "I brought you dessert," I said, my voice flat. "She asked if I was your sister." Craig winced. "Melissa, it's not what you think." "Don't," I said. "Don't insult me like that." He stepped closer. "Please, let me explain. I already know everything." I lied. He paused. That was the first real tell. He tilted his head like he was trying to guess how much I'd really seen. "She told me," I added. "Your little girlfriend. She didn't know you were married. She found out when I showed up." That part was true. His face dropped. "Her name's Tessa, right?" I asked. He nodded, defeated. "Yeah. She's been to our house?" He hesitated. Then, barely, nodded again. I felt something twist in my stomach. "What, while I was out? While I was at work?" Craig ran a hand down his face. "It wasn't supposed to happen. It was just. It started a few months ago. She was new. I was mentoring her. It wasn't planned." "How long has it been?" He didn't answer. "How long?" 6 months. That one hit me in the chest. 6 months. That's Christmas. That's our anniversary. That's the night we went to the cabin and he held me in bed while I cried about not having kids. That was him pretending to love me while he was fucking someone else. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I stood up, walked to the drawer, and pulled out the folder I'd prepared. "What's this?" he asked. "Bank statements. Credit card bills." "You've been sloppy, Craig. You used our joint account to buy her jewelry in February. Flowers in March. A hotel room 2 weeks ago." His eyes widened. "You went through my stuff? You think I'm the bad guy here?" He looked down. "I'm sorry. No. You're just caught. I didn't want to file for divorce right away. I wanted to wait. I needed time. Not because I loved him. That part of me had been buried the minute she said the word sister. I needed time because revenge doesn't work when it's rushed." He thought I'd fall apart. Thought I'd leave the house, cry to my sister, drink wine on the couch while he figured things out with his little girlfriend. But I didn't leave. I got smarter. I changed my passwords. Moved half of our joint savings into an account in my name. I took photos of everything: receipts, messages, hotel charges. I bought a burner phone and used it to call one of his coworkers anonymously. Left a tip about his affair with an underling. I knew Horizon Realty had a no-dating policy between supervisors and staff. Then I waited. I still made him breakfast. Still kissed him goodbye. Still acted like a woman holding on to her crumbling marriage. But underneath, I was planting landmines. It didn't take long. 2 weeks later, HR called him in. Someone had reported him. Someone anonymous. Tessa got suspended pending an investigation. Craig got put on leave. He came home shaking, pissed off, blaming everyone but himself. "This is bullshit," he said, throwing his briefcase down. "They're trying to make me the bad guy." "You are the bad guy," I said, sipping my tea. He stared at me like he was just seeing me for the first time. That was the first domino. I wasn't done yet. Craig's suspension hit him hard. His ego cracked right down the middle. Suddenly, the man who used to straighten his tie in the mirror for 10 minutes couldn't even look at himself. He started drinking earlier in the day. Not enough to pass out, just enough to be sloppy. I watched him unravel, piece by piece. Tessa stopped calling. I know because I checked the phone records. Maybe HR warned her. Maybe she figured out he was lying about more than just having a wife. Either way, she disappeared from the picture. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I needed him to lose more than his job. See, Craig wasn't just a cheater. He was reckless with money too. And while he was screwing around, I was cleaning house. I started gathering receipts from the past year. Vacations. Business trips that lined up with her Instagram posts from resorts in Arizona and Vegas. I took screenshots. Every damn one. Then I called the IRS. Yeah, that's right. He'd been writing off those trips as business expenses, filing everything under Horizon's name. Meals, flights, hotels, even lingerie from Victoria's Secret showed up as client gifts. The woman on the phone sounded real interested. Took my name. Took my file. Said someone would follow up. And they did. 2 weeks later, Craig got a letter in the mail. Audit. They were flagging the past 3 years. He came storming into the kitchen, waving the envelope like it was a death notice. Did you have anything to do with this? I didn't even look up from my crossword. Maybe if you didn't commit fraud, you wouldn't have to worry. He looked like he wanted to throw the letter across the room. Instead, he stormed out and peeled down the driveway. While he was gone, I called my lawyer. She was good. Tough. Her name was Rose, and she didn't waste time with fluff. I handed over everything, the affair, the finances, the audit. She nodded and said, "We can bury him if you want." I wanted. 3 days later, he came back from some sad motel with greasy hair and red eyes. He smelled like vodka and stale cigarettes. "I want to fix this," he said, standing in the doorway like a lost boy. "I want us to try again." I laughed. Loud. From the gut. It startled the dog. "You think this is fixable?" I asked, standing up. "I made a mistake, Melissa. A big one. But you've been cruel." That part hit me funny. Cruel? "No," I said. "You lied. You cheated. You embarrassed me. I protected myself. That's not cruelty. That's survival." He didn't say anything after that. Just stood there, like the ground had shifted under him, and he had no idea how to balance. That weekend, I invited his parents over. Said it was important. They came. Sat at our table. His mom brought her famous banana bread, like she always did, not knowing the bomb I was about to drop. "Craig's been having an affair," I said over coffee. "For 6 months. With a woman from his office. He used our money. Brought her into our home. And now he's under investigation at work. And the IRS is after him." His mother gasped. His father went silent. Craig just stared at the floor like a punished kid. "I wanted you to hear it from me," I said. "Because this will be public soon." His mom tried to defend him. Maybe they were just close. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. I pulled out my phone, scrolled, showed her the pictures, the receipts, the lingerie charged to our joint card. She went quiet. I let the silence hang in the room like a storm cloud. Then I stood up, excused myself, and left them sitting there with what was left of their perfect son. Craig's world was crumbling, and I hadn't even filed yet. But I would. And when I did, I was going to make sure he had nothing left to hide behind. Not money. Not reputation. Not even his name. A week after I dropped the truth bomb on his parents, Craig moved out. Not to a new apartment, to his brother's basement. The same brother he used to laugh at for never growing up. Funny how life works. I filed the divorce papers the day after he left. My lawyer, Rose, filed for alimony, full control of what was left of our joint accounts, and included a request to seize any property tied to the fraudulent expenses. Craig had no idea that meant even his BMW was at risk, since he used our business account to pay half the lease. He tried to fight it. Filed a counterclaim accusing me of emotional cruelty. Said I had embarrassed him at work and intentionally ruined his relationships. The judge didn't buy it. Not with the receipts I handed over. The emails. The texts. The hotel bills. The audit report. By the time court was over, he looked hollow. Pale. Like someone who hadn't slept in months. And maybe he hadn't. I know I hadn't, but not because of guilt. Because I was focused. Every late night was one more step toward justice. He lost his job. Horizon Realty let him go quietly, without fighting the harassment complaint someone anonymously, submitted about Tessa. She quit too. Maybe they ran off together. Maybe not. I didn't care. He was slapped with IRS penalties, back taxes, and fees for almost $30,000. He had to sell the BMW. Had to borrow from his parents. They paid off part of his debt, then cut him off. He called me once. Just once. Are you happy now? He asked, his voice tired, brittle. No, I said. But I'm free. I hung up. But here's the part one haven't told anyone. I made mistakes too. Not just trusting him. Not just staying longer than I should have. 6 months before this all went down, I knew something was wrong. I felt it in my bones. I could have left. I could have confronted him sooner. But I didn't. I buried it. I smiled through it. I let myself rot from the inside out. I thought if I pretended hard enough, it would go away. That's on me. It took being humiliated in a restaurant to wake up. To remember I deserved better. That love doesn't look like secrets and gaslighting. That marriage isn't supposed to feel like walking through a minefield barefoot. Revenge wasn't the goal at first. It was survival. But in the end, yeah, I wanted him to hurt. The way I hurt when she called me his sister. The way I hurt every night he came home smelling like a woman who wasn't me. He lost everything. And me? I kept the house. I got the dog. I found a job at a law firm downtown. Rose referred me. Said I had a good eye for details. Maybe even a future in private investigations. I take long walks now. I go out with friends. I laugh, real laughter, not the kind that hides pain. Craig used to say I was too soft. He was wrong. I wasn't soft. I was quiet. Now he knows the difference.